Most of us fail in life because we're afraid of what everyone around you is thinking. That's 100% truth. So we live by the narrative of other people. When I first called a recruiter to be a Navy SEAL and I was 297 pounds, the first recruiter looked at me and said, "You're not gonna be able to make this, man." So what he was doing was he was projecting his energy on me. He knew he couldn't be a Navy SEAL. So God helped this black guy, because I was only the 36th African American to make it through in over 70 years. How's this black fat guy gonna make it through in my ass? He wouldn't even want to try. So he's projecting this. So a lot of us who are negative people, all we do is project how we feel on other people. So what happens is that there's a lot of negative people walking around the planet Earth who are afraid to try. Because a lot of people are very negative in this world. So we are afraid to fail. Why? I told you, man, shouldn't even try it, dude. Just chill out, relax. Why are you so crazy? Why are you so obsessed? So all that stuff drives the quitting mind, I call it. The mind wants to quit. The mind's tired. The mind's tired. The mind's deserving. The mind thinks it's very deserving. So yes, the biggest problem in this world is other people, not yourself. It's other people in your head. They are puppet mastering you pretty much on your life. My circle's very small. I didn't handpick these people. So you don't want people in your corner that are like, "Oh, let me pat you on the back for real if you do." I don't want people pat me on the back because I woke up in the morning. No. So you don't want that. You want people who are honest with you, who are going to tell you what is honest and truthful people. So someone who's honest and truthful, who has lived and is accountable for their own personal life, that's who you want in your corner. Say, "Hey man, you know what? You're pretty dumb for doing this, dude. Like, this is not smart." Or you're being a turd today. You're not getting after it. That's who you want in your corner. A lot of people handpick people to be in their corner who kiss their ass.
What if? A lot of times I'll be in a 200-mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I start to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, "There's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through." You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if?
A couple weeks ago, I did a video called Taking Souls. Taking Souls comes with a very particular look. And in competition, you're looking to break the other person down. And in breaking that person down, what happens to that person who's being broke down, they have an empty look in their eyes. I call it, you've taken their soul. You own space in their head. And owning space in their head means they're unable to perform at their best now because they're thinking about you. For instance, let's say there's a boxing match, 12 rounds, going at it, heavyweight champion. This guy's getting his ass kicked for 11 rounds. For 11 rounds, he continues to get back up and get back up and get back up. By that 12th round, the guy who's been beating the guy's ass, you're gonna start to see a certain look on his face. His soul is leaving. If you can spot that look while you're getting your ass beat, you'll win the fight. Stay in the fight. Well, what happened was, so when I graduated high school, I finally graduated. I finally passed the military entrance exam, the ABAB. I wanted to be an Air Force pararescueman, and I won't get deep into that, but I failed miserably at that. So I went from 175 pounds out of high school to 297 pounds within a 4-year period. So basically, I'm about 22 years old now, about 22 years old. I'm 297 pounds. I'm out of the Air Force, and my job is I'm spraying for cockroaches at a company called Ecolab. So I'm making $1,000 a month. And my job is from 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning to go around and spray for cockroaches. So every night for 6 months, I'm doing this job. So I finally get home one night, and trust me, it wasn't like overnight this happened. You're haunted by the mere fact that you're a piece of shit every day. And people who don't think that, you're lying to yourself. So every day of my life, I'm haunted by my father, the kids that bullied me, my own insecurities, all these things were just roosting in the back of my head. So I'd be driving home at like 7 o'clock in the morning from an all-night shift and all alone in my truck, and I'd be thinking, what the man, my life is hell. So one day I came home, and I always come home and watch TV, and this show was on with like Navy SEALs, and I'm afraid of the water, terrified of the water. I sink like a rock. So I'm sitting there watching these guys going through Navy SEAL training, and I'm like, and I saw what I believe how a man should feel, have pride and dignity in himself. It's like I gotta change myself. So literally I sat down on the couch and watched these guys going through SEAL training, and I went through my own mental checklist of how jacked up I am and how many things I would have to change just to get an opportunity to try out for something like that. Have to get smarter, have to get fit, have to lose weight, have to do all these things, start running, swimming, everything. So I finally get to a point where I get the courage to go to a recruiter and say, hey, I want to go try to do this. But when you're 297 pounds and you're going to go try to be one of the fittest people in the world, you get laughed at. So I got laughed at a lot. But in this process was actually hardening my mind. All the laughter, because the laughter used to make me cower. Now I realize that I can no longer hide from my insecurities, hide from all these fears. I had to start wearing them. I had to start talking about them. I had to start being vulnerable because I was always afraid of them. So here I am now. I'm facing them. I finally find a recruiter that says, hey, we'll take you in. And he says, you have less than 3 months to lose 106 pounds. You know, that's impossible. So that was my mindset. But I was like, hey, I can't have that kind of mindset. So I went to the dungeon and started using all my insecurities as strength. Instead of looking at being bullied and my dad messing me up and all this stuff like that, I looked at it as, who could have survived all this and still be here with the opportunity to go into Navy SEAL training? And so I started using all these negative things and started flipping everything on top of his head. Instead of saying, woe is me, kicking rocks, head down in the dirt, I started saying, there's not a motherfucker on the planet who would have this opportunity coming from where I came from. They would be a statistic. So I started looking at it as power versus like big time defeat. And slowly but surely, every day, I started changing the voice in my head, because the most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. So I slowly started changing that internal dialogue in my head. And there wasn't no like teacher, there was no shrink, there was no mom saying, hey David, you can do it. No, it was me. And that was where the power came from. The power came from, no one's helping me, no one's coming back to save me, no one's coming back to pull me to the finish line. This is on you. So I saw a lot of power in the fact that if I change this around, I did this. I changed this around.